Hi guys, thanks for joining me for this video today. In this video, we will be taking a look at finding the area of various shapes in geometry. Now let's get started. So the first shape will be a rectangle. So let's say we had a rectangle with length 9 centimeters and width 4 centimeters. Now the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. So for our rectangle, that would be 9 times 4, or 36 centimeters squared. Now please be reminded that the area for a rectangle is basically the same as the area for a square. It's just that with a square, all sides are equal, so the area of a square is equal to 4 times 4, or 16 centimeters squared. Now let's take a look at a triangle. Now let's say we had a triangle with height 12 centimeters and base 8 centimeters. Now the area of a triangle is equal to half the base times the height. So that would be 12 times 8 divided by 2. 8 can be divided by 2 4 times. So we are left with 12 times 4, or 48 centimeters squared. Okay, now let's say we had a equilateral triangle with sides measuring 20 centimeters. Now the area of an equilateral triangle is equal to root 3 divided by 4 times s squared. So s squared. So for our triangle, that would be root 3 over 4 multiplied by 20 squared. That would be root 3 over 4 times 400. 400 can be divided by 4 100 times. And so we are left with 100 root 3 centimeters squared. Now let's move on. Now let's say we had a triangle that had no equal sides. So let's say this was 3 centimeters, this was 4 centimeters, and this is 5 centimeters. Now to find the area of a triangle with no equal sides, the formula we will use is called Heron's formula, which is S times S minus A, S minus B, and S minus C. So for our triangle S, which is a semi-pyramidal, would be 3 plus 4 plus 5 divided by 2. So that would be 12 divided by 2, and S would be 6. Now our area will then be the square root of 6 times 6 minus 3 times 6 minus 4 times 6 minus 5, which is the square root of 6 times 3 times 2 and times 1. So we get 36, and the square root of 36 is 6 centimeters squared. Okay guys, now let's say we had a circle with radius 2 centimeters. The area of a circle is pi r squared. So for our circle, the area would be pi 2 squared, or 4 pi centimeters squared. If we were to plug that into our calculator, we would get 4 times pi, or 12.57 centimeters squared. Now let's take a look at this example. So we have a circle, but we are given a sector with 45 degrees. And we are asked to find the area of the sector. So we are asked to find this shaded region. Now, the area of a sector is equal to theta over 360 degrees multiplied by pi r squared. So in this formula, theta acts as a percentage of that circle. So we will have 45 degrees divided by 360 degrees times pi, and let's not forget our radius, which is 2 centimeters. So be 2 squared. Now 360 divided by 45 would be 8, so we have 1 over 8 pi 4. 4 can be divided by 4 once, and 8 divided by 4 2 times. So our final answer would be pi over 2 centimeters squared. Now, if you were to plug that into our calculator, we would get approximately 1.57 centimeters squared. Okay guys, let's move on to another shape. Let's try for a parallelogram. So let's say you had a parallelogram with length 10 centimeters and height 6 centimeters. Now the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So that would be 10 times 6, or 60 centimeters squared. Now let's say we had a parallelogram with base or length 10 centimeters and the slanted side 5 centimeters, with a base of this small triangle being 4 centimeters. What is the area of the parallelogram? Now, the area of the parallelogram is the base times the height. But unfortunately, we were not provided with a height. So we would have to find that height. And to find the height, we can use Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. So that would be 4 squared plus h squared is equal to 5 squared. This would be 16 plus h squared is equal to 25. H squared is equal to 25 minus 16. H squared is equal to 9. And we find the square root of both sides. And h will then be equal to 3. So now that we found 3, we can go ahead and find our area. So the area is equal to 3 times 10, and our area is 30 centimeters squared. Now let's move on to a trapezoid. So let's say we had a trapezoid with one base being 10 centimeters and the other 16 centimeters. And the slanted edge having a 5 centimeter length. What is the area of this trapezoid? Now first, if you take a look at this, you'll notice that it comprises of 2 right angled triangles and a rectangle. So the area would be the sum of the areas of all 3 shapes. So the area of a trapezoid is equal to b1 plus b2 divided by 2 multiplied by h. Now, unfortunately, we were not provided with h, so we would have to find h. And to find h, we would use Pythagoras' theorem. So the base of this small triangle would be 3 centimeters. And so that would be 3 squared plus 8 squared is equal to 5 squared. This works to be 9 plus 8 squared is equal to 25 squared. Sorry about that, 25. So 8 squared is equal to 16, because we will subtract 9 from both sides, and h would be equal to 4, as we found the root of both sides. So now that we found h, we can go ahead and find the area. So the area would be equal to 10 plus 16 times 4 divided by 2. 4 can be divided by 2 times, and so our area will be equal to 26 times 2, or 52 centimeters squared. Now let's take a look at our final shape, a rhombus. And let's say we are given the length of this side So let's say we are given the length of this side and the length of this side, and also the second diagonal. What is the area of the rhombus? Now the area of the rhombus is equal to a half d1 d2. Now we have our second diagonal, which is 24 centimeters. So we need to find our first diagonal. And to find our first diagonal, we would need to use Pisag's theorem. So we have the side right here being 8 centimeters, so that would be 8 squared, plus right here, I'll call that h, so that's 8 squared, and that will be equal to this, which is 10 squared. So that would be 64 plus h squared is equal to 100. 8 squared would be equal to 100, subtract 64. 8 squared would be equal to 36. And we find the root of both sides. H would be equal to 6. Now that we found h, we can go ahead and find the area. So the area is equal to 6 times 2 times 24. Now 6 times 2 would be the length of our first diagonal. And we'll divide this by 2. So that will be equal to 12 times 24 divided by 2. 24 can be divided by 2 12 times. And so our final answer would be 12 times 12, or 144 centimeters squared. Okay guys, so you can go ahead and review the video. You can try some on your own, and hopefully you'll get this soon. Thanks again for watching. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, guys.